Tell Me About It is brought to you by Don Franklin Auto of Glasgow, Extreme Health Club, and Lockshield Partners Accounting Services.
Trevent Hayes, KY Sports TV. In our absence again today, I'm starting to say that a lot. James Brown, 104 The Score. We're here on Glasgow Electric Plant Board Channel 6, the local channel. We have a guest today, newly retired Edmonson County Lady Wildcat basketball coach, Bart Weaver. Coach, we want to welcome you on the show.
Appreciate that.
Coach Weaver, you have, it's just going to be me and you the whole show.
Yeah.
So we do everything off the top of the head. I don't write anything down. Started your coaching career at Harrodsburg.
Yes.
For those of you that's watching us, Harrodsburg, probably one of the most successful Class A schools ever in the state of Kentucky.
For sure.
And I think I kind of counted as I was on my way here. I think you coached 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 NFL players.
Yes. From a little small Class A school.
From Harrodsburg, Kentucky.
Yeah.
There I think that was all in about a 5 or 6 year span.
Mm-hmm.
Ran into Jason Dunn at the state playoffs this year. I was at Hart. All the coaches walking in.
Yeah. Somebody
grabs me and says, what are you doing up this way? And I turn around and had to look up. It's Jason Dunn and the guys. Those guys. Ran into Johnson at the basketball state tournament. Still talk to Craig every once in a while. But those guys, to be as successful as they are, so down to earth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How was it coaching those kids?
Well, I mean, I was coming straight out of college, and young and just getting going in my career, and then I get to land at a place like that. It was amazing, man. It's just like, I could tell you so many stories on those guys, man, but they, just so athletic. I mean, I remember when I used to run a field day for grades 4 through 8, and then we'd include the high school some years, and we had to bring Craig over as a second grader from Harlow Elementary and won the 100-yard dash at high school.
Wow.
As a second grader, man. I mean, he just smoked it, and then Jason and I go so far back. Of course, he played basketball with us too, and I coached basketball too. And he broke 3 or 4 backboards at practice and stuff. And he was just a monster. Great kid too. All of them were great kids, man.
For those of you watching, we're referring to Craig East, who was at one time the all-time leading receiver
at UK.
Yeah. Led the SEC. I know one year he was Tim Couch's #1 receiver.
Yes.
He went on to play with the Jets.
Bengals and
then
the
Bengals.
Yeah.
Jason Dunn went to EKU. Then he was the opposite side of Gonzalez at Kansas City for a long time, wasn't he?
Oh, yes.
And he played at Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
And then you had Derek Johnson.
Yeah.
Dennis played at Arizona.
He got
for the
drafted.
Cardinals.
Yeah, got drafted with the Cardinals. Hurt his hand and didn't get to play but about a year or two. But
Yep. And Julius Yeast played as well, didn't he?
Yeah. He
so
played
that's
the league
just
too.
4 that and probably one of the most talented guys to come through Harrodsburg didn't make it to the NFL.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Jay Parks
yeah.
was. Jay Parks is Jay Parks.
Oh man. And had a great career, in college.
He went to UK, played for Bill Curry,
and
then he went to Kentucky State. And won. They actually won a bowl game when he was at Kentucky State. But Alvis Johnson, who's now, is he still affiliated with UK?
Yeah, he don't work there anymore.
He doesn't work there anymore.
He's a big supporter still, My mentor, man, that was,
another guy, see him at the state tournament every year, and he calls me by my name.
Yes.
And, we were, Trevor and Mason and I were at the state tournament. I think it was Trevor's senior year. And you tell your kids stories, and I was telling them all stories leading up, and we get to the state tournament, and Coach Johnson said, "Trevent, how you doing?" And they were both with me.
Yeah.
And told him, "I'm doing good, Coach. Good to see you. Looking good." And he was talking to some other guys. He said, "Probably the fastest guy I ever coached against."
Yeah.
And Trevor and Mason, they just opened their mouth. Yeah. And but we were unfortunate enough to have to come to Harrodsburg in the playoffs.
Yeah. It was fun doing all that. But I tell you what, Alvis, you had Alvis's respect back then. Dude, he'd tell me, we'd watch film, break down film before that game, and he'd, "Coach," I can hear him now, "is he really this fast?" I go, "Coach, he's that fast."
Well, I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, he really respected you.
And
and built the whole defense against you in that game. I mean, you have to take away the best.
It was a long ride to Harrodsburg.
Yeah.
But it was a longer ride. Home. I think it was like 20 degrees that night.
Oh, it was cold.
You guys had the big turbine heaters on the sideline, and
they'd
run to the sideline, and we would just go freeze, I guess.
Yeah. Had you a nice locker room back there.
Yeah, it was nice. It's real nice. Derek's son, Dennis's son. Dennis's son.
Yeah.
Now he just. If he had stayed in Kentucky, he would have definitely been a front runner for Mr. Basketball in the next, not this coming year, but next year.
Yeah.
But isn't it amazing how it's people say, you have to work hard. You do have to work hard.
Yeah.
But it's also in your DNA.
It's in your DNA and how you're brought up. Those boys were brought up the best, and learned what it took to be successful and good people. That's the biggest thing. Rosetta's a cornerstone of that family too. Which she's just like family to us too.
And it's funny. I tell people all the time. The hardest I was ever hit playing football in high school football was a guy named Paul E. Elmore from here at Barron County.
Okay.
I think Paul E. was probably 5'8", weighed 140 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach, he absolutely made me want to quit playing football for a while. But the second was my 7th grader, the Johnsons.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Really? And a lot of people really don't realize that they're the reason why you couldn't participate as an 7th or 8th grader in varsity.
It's the Johnson rule, man. A lot of people
because they dominated as middle schoolers.
Yeah. They and even Danville, they've had such a great tradition in football. Their head coach was one of the main ones pushing this new rule because it's unfair, all this, and they're too big and they're too strong, and
you look at middle schoolers now, you might be good. The twins over at Caverna were exceptionally big middle schoolers, but outside of them, we played against those kids, and he was like 6'4".
Oh yeah,
200 pounds as a middle schooler.
As a middle schooler, yeah.
And I used to love running that little rocket screen, and we ran the rocket screen, and as soon as I turned around, he hit me, and still he hadn't even went through puberty yet.
Yeah.
But were they on Scholastic Sports?
Yeah.
I thought they were with Chris, not Chris. The guy that hosted it from ESPN. What's his name, Chris?
I think it was Chris.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they tell the stories of them pulling the trucks before Alvis making them putting the truck in neutral and making them pull it.
I've seen it. I've witnessed it. It's a lot of people don't realize. When you tell the story, they just laugh and think it's you're joking or something. But I was there on the sideline when they went in as 2nd grader and a 3rd grader in a varsity football game. That's insane, man. I mean, and listen, not just taking up space, they're making tackles.
Making plays.
When they're 2nd and 3rd graders, and I was just in shock, I'm like, okay. First time Craig East ever touched the ball in varsity sport was a good story. We were, he was an 8th grader, and before the rule, and Alvis just kept telling me, and I had special teams, I'm dying to put Craig East at kickoff return, man. I mean, just about to die, but not ready. He's not ready, Coach. He's not ready, I keep asking. We're playing Boyle County, first game of the season, his 8th grade year. And I think we're up 14-0 or something, and I just keep going back to Coach. Coach, come on, let me put Craig back there just one time. Well, just go ahead, Coach. Just go ahead. You better not let him get hurt. You can hear him now. Put him back there, 93 yards to the house.
Wow.
That's an 8th grader, his first touchdown ever. The first game of that year. So,
well,
amazing.
We've got a lot of things that we're going to talk about, but we're going to take a quick break. And we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Weaver about his father, who started the legacy at Caverna, and we'll talk about himself and his kids. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you guys.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
Lockshield Partners Accounting Services provides professional and trusted expertise to our clients. Our team offers individual, business, and nonprofit tax preparation services, as well as payroll, bookkeeping, and consulting year-round. Call or visit our office today so our team can work for you while you and your loved ones focus on what really matters, because together we plan.
All right, we're back again here with Coach Bart Weaver. He's not affiliated with any schools anymore, but still coach.
Yeah.
I don't want to put him on the spot, but I've got plans for Coach Weaver. Coach, you were on the 1979 5th Region championship team. Mm-hmm. You guys got beat by Lexington Lafayette, Dirk Minifield.
Yeah, the eventual champion.
And I've heard stories. I was only 4 at the time, but I've, going to the state tournament every year for the last 15 years. You hear stories.
Right.
Jock Sutherland was the coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And his brother was the radio announcer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard stories of Rupp Arena. People from Lexington Lafayette were actually cheering for Caverna.
They couldn't even say the name right.
Yeah.
They were saying Caverna, and everything.
Yeah, said that you guys really were the Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Eat with some guys every year. Vernon Henson from Clay County knows all you guys by your first name, and you guys beat them in the tournament. But that's kind of where you got started. But your father was the principal at Caverna. And the football stadium is named B.H. Weaver Stadium.
Yeah.
Always heard stories of how good of a person he was and how fair he was. How was it coming through Caverna with your dad as the principal?
Well, it was, a lot of people think it's just easy, but it's really difficult because my dad was to the point where, I'm not getting any breaks,
Right.
In fact, I'm gonna get less breaks than anybody, and so he always, I had to kind of walk the line, which I got in trouble a little bit, but then he'd take care of it, but it was an honor. Now that you look back on it, at the time it was kind of inconvenience for me, a little young guy trying to get into stuff, and have to answer to him. But then he was ended up being superintendent, before he had to retire with health reasons. But proud that I'll never forget the first night I stood on that football field and coached the first game, on B.H. Weaver Stadium. That was something I'll never forget. That was a special moment. He tied for a state championship in 1961, 8-man football at Caverna. And of course his legacy goes through a lot of stuff. Why they named that field. I mean, he did a lot for the school system. Stayed there for 33 years.
And he did a lot for the community as well.
He did a lot.
For the community. Your youngest son Blake is a teacher at North Jackson.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but he was Teacher of the Year.
He's PE Teacher of the Year.
PE Teacher of the Year. Blake is, I guess, your All-American dad.
Yeah.
Great with his kids. All the kids love him. A couple of kids in my neighborhood actually have him as a PE teacher, yes, and they talk about Mr. Weaver.
Yeah.
And then you have another son who is the celebrity, per se.
Yeah.
I was Bartley's quarterback. I was his offensive coordinator in high school.
Yes.
And he was different then. I mean, he's been different since he was in probably the 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
Just started watching him transform his body.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titan. He's been on the show with The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
On the 4th of July, he placed 5th in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many things that he was a Kentucky State Trooper.
Right.
How is it parenting a child like Bartley?
Well, first of all, it was very tough feeding him. And I'm not. That's not a joke because, since he was about 8 years old, probably, we'd go to the grocery, and we'd spend a certain amount, for Blake and myself and my wife Pat, and then we'd double it just for him. And that's when he was 7 or 8 years old eating like that. I mean, he just always had a big appetite, But he's such a good, just a good, genuine person, and it's been an honor to be his dad, and he's had to make some tough decisions career-wise, and, you just want your kid to be happy, and I think right now he's happy, the happiest he's ever been. So, that's what, as a parent, that's all you want,
And I was telling you earlier, there's never been a time that I've not called Bartley, regardless of where he's at. And he always answers the phone. I mean, so many people, when they get a little success, they kind of forget.
Yeah, they do.
Forget where they came from and forget, the little people.
Exactly.
But I joke with him. The reason he answers for me, we were playing, we weren't playing Evangel. We were playing another school in Louisville. And like I said, I was his offensive coordinator, and he threw 6 or 7 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
And, I let him break the school record, and so he always thanked me. Thanked me for that.
Yeah. Well, he also enjoyed. You let him throw that ball about 45 times a game, so I mean that. He sure did love that.
That's and people ask me, why do you like throwing it so much?
Yeah.
Because I used to be the one to catch it.
Exactly.
And you can't catch it if somebody don't throw it to you.
You got it. That's exactly right.
Dead period. How do you feel about dead period?
It's a double-edged sword to me. I mean, yes, kids need a 2-week period where they don't do anything, but to the extent where you cannot talk to them, you can't text them, you can't see them, you can't be around them, you can't call them, you can't answer a call. That stuff's a little crazy to me. But,
I made a post about it on Facebook, and a guy was talking about they need it and da-da-da-da-da. Well, guess what? They're still playing AAU.
Yeah,
they're still playing travel baseball.
That's exactly
they're
right.
Still playing. They're still playing sports
during those 2 weeks.
During the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can't do anything.
Yeah.
But some kids don't want that 2 weeks. Some kids want to work and want that individual training with their coach. And I'm not saying, that kids shouldn't have a break, because they should. But I just think, you're going right into the heart of football, You know, we start Monday, and we've got 7-on-7 on Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday.
Right. So,
And, you know, didn't have our kids the whole month of June because they play basketball.
that's right.
But it makes it tough. But we'll continue with that in just a minute. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some football things around the state on the collegiate and high school level. But we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Lockshield Partners Accounting Services provides professional and trusted expertise to our clients. Our team offers individual, business, and nonprofit tax preparation services, as well as payroll, bookkeeping, and consulting year-round. Call or visit our office today so our team can work for you while you and your loved ones focus on what really matters, because together we plan.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Welcome back. Coach, we've went through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Caught up a little bit. Didn't talk about the times that I spent as one of your assistants. Very grateful for those days. Had a good group of kids. Had a good run. And I tell everybody, you know, in a small school, you go through 6 or 7 year spans.
Yeah.
You may be down, but for 4 or 5 years, you're going to be back on top.
Back up, yeah.
What was your favorite to coach, football or basketball?
Man, it's so tough, man. Of course, you know, and I've coached baseball probably.
I forgot.
You
baseball.
know, probably a total of 21 years, you know, and my answer always, you know, during my career has been the one I'm in.
The one you're
You
in.
know, just to save face, because, you know, you get into those. They're so different. You know, baseball was more of a laid back, relaxing kind of time. Not that you can be intense, but it's short periods of time, you know. And basketball is like, you know, you got to have a short memory, you know, because you got to play the next night or
So
two,
many
you know.
games.
And it's just so many games, and football is just, I don't know, it's something about working to one goal for the whole entire week, and then you get to cash that check on Friday night, man. I mean, so they're all different, you know. I've loved, and you know, I never really coached girls until the last 5 years, and that's just been a blessing to me.
And how many district championships did you win in 5 years?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, should have won 4, I think, but that COVID year got me. I had 2 little guards that got it real bad, and they could never recover from it. But you know, it's hard to answer that question. I really have enjoyed all of them. As far as if I had to pick one, probably would have to be football. Just that anticipation for that one game a week, you know, it's pretty nice, you know. Pretty good feeling, yeah.
And it's in the air.
Oh, it's in there.
It's really starting to
Yeah.
close in on us.
Oh, yeah.
Was reading an article. You guys don't ever get to see Aaron. Aaron's behind the scenes. Aaron is the producer of the show. You know, Aaron and I go back and forth about Louisville and Kentucky, and you know, it's all in fun. But I read an article earlier. The sports writers, the major sports writers, were saying there's 4 teams that could run the table, that could go 12-0, and Louisville was actually one of those teams.
Yeah. I saw that article.
You know, it's like you kick a dog so bad while they're down,
Yeah.
but eventually that dog's going to turn around and start biting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I saw some guys last weekend from Purdue, and I was asking them how they felt about Brom leaving. They didn't know I was a Louisville fan at first. I was like, oh, we're glad he's gone. Couldn't win the big one. He had a share of the Big Ten championship last year.
Yeah.
So that's not the big one. Okay.
Yeah.
But to see his passion for the game, and I think he develops quarterbacks just as good or as better as anybody in the nation.
In the country, yeah.
Louisville has 8 quarterbacks on the roster.
Oh no, and they all can
play.
They all can play.
So I'm looking forward to, not just winning games, but I'm looking forward to playing Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's just so, and you're a Louisville fan too, so, and James Brown is kind of neutral, but it's just so bad when Kentucky keeps beating you.
I know.
And you have to listen to the fans talk about 4 years in a row.
It's been miserable.
It's been
miserable.
terrible.
That's saying it mildly, but yeah.
And it started when they beat Louisville with Lamar.
Yeah.
They beat Louisville with Lamar, and that made them think they were national championship contenders.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm just glad to be out of the Satterfield days,
Oh my gosh, those days were bad. I'm looking forward to watching some games with our producer this fall with Aaron.
Yeah.
You'll have to come over and watch some games with us.
That'd be good. Yeah,
especially the Louisville Kentucky game. I really want to be with him during that game.
Yeah.
And see, I can say all this stuff because nobody can hear what he's saying. Nobody can see his reactions. But I can't wait for that to happen. And Kentucky's got a really brutal schedule this year.
They do have a brutal schedule. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
They've lost a lot of players, too. But anyway, high school football, I think Hart County is preseason number 4 in 3A.
Wow. That's great.
That's huge. That's huge for Chad and the guys over at Hart County. As part of that staff last year, great staff, great guys, well prepared every week.
Yeah.
But they're going to come out with a big X on their back from the jump. Glasgow lost Kieran Stockton. A lot of people think Glasgow will be better this year than they were last year. I just don't see how you're going to replace.
It's kind of hard for me to
Kieran Stockton.
predict that. Yeah.
Don't know a lot about Barron this year, but I do know Metcalf lost quite a bit last year. Monroe lost quite a bit. So it's going to be an interesting season for high school football. NFL level, I don't know. Everybody says I'm a Baltimore fan because of Lamar, which that's not true. I was a Baltimore fan in the Ray Lewis days.
Oh, I was too.
They used to call him the murderer.
Oh, yeah.
But I've never seen anybody as passionate at a linebacker as Ray Lewis was.
Never in my life. I love Ray Lewis. Always will.
And, he lost his son last month.
Yeah.
Tragedy. So who do you like on the NFL level?
Well, they're going to say the same thing about me. They say I'm just a Ravens fan because of Lamar, but I'm like you. I mean, Trent Dilfer, people like that. I loved Trent Dilfer. I know he wasn't a flashy, great quarterback, but he did just what he had to do on that team to win a Super Bowl. I'm a Ravens fan. Lamar got a lot to do with it. I love Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's my favorite player probably ever as far as put on a Louisville uniform.
It's a close race with me. Him and I thought Teddy Bridgewater Teddy Bridgewater was great.
Yeah.
I mean, as a person. And I just saw they just named some parks and some other things after him down in Miami.
His high school field.
The high school
field. Stadium, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a neat story about Teddy Bridgewater, he would ride his bicycle to the games when he was at New Orleans.
And that's yeah.
And would stop and talk to people. And that's another case of, those guys came from absolutely nothing, and they never forgot where they came from.
Oh, that's important.
I know most people around here are Tennessee Titan fans. I'm not opposed to the Titans, but I like Derrick Henry, but I can't ever get it done.
I just say I'm not a Tennessee Titan fan. I mean, I was when Bartley was doing the Hyperion or whatever, but that was kind of neat. But I've never thought the organization has been dedicated to spend the money it takes to be a winner, you know, to be a big winner. I get frustrated with franchises like that, you know. The Bengals have finally, you know, they were like that for years too, but and they hadn't paid a couple guys yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay them, or
they're going to have to pay them.
They're going to leave.
That's
well,
right.
Coach, we definitely appreciate you coming on today. Congratulations on your retirement, although it's going to be short-lived. We are looking forward to what you have in the future. We want to thank you guys again. Trevent Hayes, KY Sports TV. James Brown is not with us. 104 The Score. Glasgow Electric Plant Board Channel 6, the local channel. We thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.